Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Hey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Knights of the Pageless Library. I am Bo Knight, and with me, as always, is Ryan Knight. And we are a podcast that looks at audiobooks. And today, we are taking a look at the June Audible Originals. We are taking, what are the two books? Ghost Sitter and a Nut Job, or Nuts Job.
Nut Jobs.
Oh, yeah, backwards. My bad.
Something like that. Yeah. And that's actually, it's kind of weird because that's an Audible original podcast. So,
Yeah.
so
I don't know how I
but
feel about that.
I don't either, but we'll get into it as we talk about that book. So, just so everybody knows, we're just covering two of the Audible originals for the month of June. These came out on Friday the 5th. Audible originals come out on the first Friday of each month. So
And
these
I think
are,
you could still pick every single one.
I believe you're right too, but the only way we would be able to listen to all of them and then have any time left to make any content on it would be if we could do this full time, and clearly we can't. So
No, still
We-
unsponsored.
right. So we just picked two, and these are the two we landed on. So we'll cover these two to maybe help influence your decision on your June Audible originals you pick. We're gonna try to get these out as fast as we can. Obviously, we're almost a week late, but
I
the
feel like we
goal-
needed a week to listen to them.
well, yeah, and we do need some time to listen to them. So that's the goal, though, is to listen to them as fast as possible and then get the episode out just to help people make their choices on their Audible originals.
Yeah.
So, and with that, if anybody hates that idea, you
Yes.
could email us at kotpl.pod@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at Pageless Library. You can catch us over on YouTube, Knights of the Pageless Library. You can go over there and like, comment, and subscribe, and then leave me a nasty comment if you want.
Why not me? I want the nasty comments.
Okay, us. You could leave us one. You could go check us out on Facebook, Knights of the Pageless Library. We also have a Discord if anybody's still interested in that. We need to get some people in there in the library, but you got to have your library card in order to come in. So
Yes, you have to
email me, and I will send you your specific code to get into the Discord channel.
Yeah.
So with that, if it wasn't obvious already, these are both Audible originals. They are from Audible. So that's pretty much where we listen to all of our content. If it's anything different, we will definitely let you guys know. Because
And maybe we need to maybe look at some other platforms.
that might be fair to do some comparisons and stuff. That might be fair.
Because to be honest with you, I don't even know what other options there are.
I'm not 100% sure either. I'm sure there are some. I just think this is probably the largest and easiest is the problem.
No, I'm not saying Audible's not great, because Audible's great. I'm just saying I would like to see what else is out there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and we could try that. We could look for them somewhere else just to give people an idea if they want that. So
Yeah. Maybe somebody hates Amazon. I
well,
don't know why you would. Jeff
I know
Bezos,
why you
our
would, but-
overlord. No, shh. We want a sponsor.
Oh yeah, sorry. I do not hate Amazon. Trust
Yeah.
me. I spend probably 90% of my paychecks there. So
That's not even close to true.
okay.
So yeah, these came out recently. They're both pretty both of these audiobooks were published this month, so they're both pretty new. Actually, one of them's not even a book, so never mind.
I believe the Ghost Sitter one though it was originally written in 2015, but
Yeah.
it's turned into a Audible original this year. So
Yeah,
so with that, which one of these do you want to talk about first? So we have a little more structure.
I want to go in the order I listen to them. So let's go Ghost Sitter first.
Okay, fair enough.
So Ghost Sitter is a dramatization, which I don't know how I feel about that. Still,
Okay. We'll get into that after the spoilers.
yeah. Sorry.
So this book was written by Tommy Cropwise. Crap wise?
I don't know. That's a great guess. That's why I was waiting for you to say it because I didn't want to try and butcher it.
And it looks like this artist, author, is mostly known for like children's novels. So a lot of this is also part of a long series. It looks like. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He's actually like a filmmaker.
Oh, okay.
He's German. That's why when I was trying to pull up the page originally for the book, it kept coming up in German.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's like at least 7 books in this series.
And I think
consider
this is the first one, as far as I
believe
understand.
so. Yeah, I'm assuming since it's where he inherits the stuff. Yeah, I'm assuming it's the beginning.
Make the most sense to me.
So as Bo said, this is a dramatization, so it's narrated by a whole bunch of people. So I'm not gonna necessarily talk about any of them individually. But so how did you think the dramatization part went? Just me?
Yeah, like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I think I have quite a bit of bias, and I just don't enjoy a dramatization.
Okay, that's fair.
As much.
Sure, and I usually agree for the most part. I thought this one was okay for a dramatization. It just in terms of I thought they did a pretty good job of, because there's the addition of a narrator, it makes it a lot easier to follow the story.
I'm not saying like I think that this dramatization, like maybe this one and Alien are probably both like the best ones that I've heard.
Yeah, I think that the dramatization part itself is done very well, very crisp, very clean. But I also agree that sometimes I think it takes away from storytelling.
We'll get into it a little more, but
okay.
So yeah, dramatization. It is what it is. I think you're either a fan of them or you aren't.
Sure.
I guess you could say that about anything. It's a dumb way to describe something.
Yeah, generally you usually are either a fan or not. So.
Yes. Dumb. So yeah, this book's like 4.5 hours, 4 hours and 25 minutes. It's a decent length.
Yeah, that's actually pretty decent for getting it for free. I mean,
yeah.
So, and I don't know if you're seeing a price anywhere on any of this stuff, but
no, I just keep seeing buy it with credits.
I see regular price would be about $6 for this.
Really? It's only $6?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
I feel like that's 100% worth it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good price for that length, especially.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the story? Was this one easy to follow, easy to listen to?
I think it's pretty easy to listen to. It's definitely a kid's book.
Right. And the genre of this is like, it does say children's audiobooks and then literature and fiction. So, yeah, it's definitely aimed at a little bit younger crowd. I'm saying probably middle school-ish age for the most part. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it's pretty easy to follow. There's no, I don't know. Yeah, it's easy to follow. It's easy to listen to. It ain't bad at all. So.
Yeah. So you want to get into our recommendations?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do some recommendations on this one.
I mean, like for $6, I feel like it's worth it.
I definitely think it's worth it if you get it for free right now. Like if you were looking
for the better Audible Originals.
Right. I actually do too. The story was it was okay. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of cliche type stuff I didn't like about it. But overall, I thought that the dramatization was done well, and I thought that, especially for a free book, that it was not bad. I mean, I didn't mind it at all.
It gets 2 not bads.
There you go. Yeah, 2 it's okays.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely though I would think out of and obviously we only listened to 2 of the Audible Originals this month, and I think there's like 8 again this month. But definitely not a bad one for sure.
No. Yeah. I think you could do a lot worse.
For sure. So do we want to go past the spoiler wall on this one and then go back and talk about nut jobs, or do we want to just go right into nut jobs?
I mean, we can do spoilery stuff a little bit. I don't think we want to. I don't want to like dwell on stuff too much.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Just
fair. I don't want to talk about the whole thing. So
yeah. I mean, just because it is a kid's book, there's a lot of nonsense.
sure. Okay, I'll let you start then.
So yeah, this is a dramatization. So there's like a narrator, which Ryan said before, which I do think adds a lot of like clarity to what's happening. Oh, I don't even remember the main kid's name, if I'm honest. Now that I'm
Tom.
thinking about it, Tom.
It's
Yeah.
Tom. Yeah.
So Tom is like a super World of Wizards nerd, and he likes to play video games, which I relate to that. I get it.
For sure.
Yeah, and the book it's but basically based around him, and he like inherits this train from his uncle, this ghost train. It's like a moving haunted house, which is kind of a cool idea. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's basically it's like he would take it around to like fairs and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
try to scare people and stuff like that. It's like a carnival ride, basically.
Right. Well, as far as it was kind of like a circus thing, like because circuses used to travel by train too.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
But I mean, like almost immediately, like when he's going to sign for this train, he starts meeting like some really strange characters.
Right.
That one guy, oh my god, the guy that voices the guy, the evil dude.
Zorash.
Yes, Horash. Yeah. What's your name? He like rolls like 7 R's.
What is your name?
Yeah, Narm. I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny.
I actually thought it was pretty good too. I didn't mind that at all. And I liked his Uncle Welf.
Yeah.
Immediately you're like, okay, there's something a little off about this guy, because then Welf.
He looks
and,
like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, which I thought that part was funny too. When he comes to the door and he describes him, he's like, "Oh my God, Hugh Jackman," and he's like,
bloody Hugh Jackman.
"Yeah, yeah." It was pretty good. And I gotta give credit to pretty much every voice actor in this. It's very, very well voice acted.
It is, and they're
Especially-
all really clear who is talking.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they did a very good job of either putting a spin on their voice or an accent or something like that to make it very, very clear who's talking.
And I mean, each character is pretty distinct. So like he inherits this ghost train. He like goes and visits it, and like immediately is greeted by like a zombie, a mummy, a ghost, a vampire.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then his Uncle Welf is a werewolf.
Yeah.
So, which I kind of had a problem with this because they call it the ghost train, and he talks about all these undead, but literally,
There's one
werewolves. Yeah, werewolf's not undead, and there's only
No.
one ghost. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, and he's the ghost sitter.
You're right. Yeah, and I didn't really understand that at all.
I mean,
So-
it's one of the things I didn't like about this was that it's like kind of split up into mini episodes. So it kind of
Huh.
gives you like a previously on the ghost sitter, and I
Right.
didn't like that. Well, I mean, I guess it would be okay if you weren't like chugging this book like I did. Like I listened to it in one day,
Right.
and maybe if you were taking it in sections, it would be okay. I don't know. I find that stuff kind of annoying.
Yeah, and I wasn't a huge fan of, because those sections that you're talking about are very clear because they play the song each
Yeah,
time.
which is so annoying.
Yeah, I liked it the very first time they played it, but then they play it like 6 more times throughout the book, which is kind of irritating.
Yeah, it's super annoying. I can't. That's the things about the dramatization that I don't like, or
Right.
like where it tries to be like a TV show and it has like bumpers and stuff like that. Like I feel like it doesn't lend well to the audio format.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. So Tom, the whole stipulation though, Tom inherits this thing and he's only 14 and he has to basically run this thing until he's 18, and then if he can successfully run it until he's 18 years old, he will inherit like 10 million euros from his adopted great uncle, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
the lady is this he calls grandma, she adopted him. She's not his actual grandma.
Right.
So I'm assuming the whole series is kind of just about his like kind of silly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a cartoon basically with kind of the silly stuff that him and these ghosts, quote unquote, go through.
Yeah. And the whole book's it's just like hijinks, like wrangling them basically, and having to deal with these what are they called? White demons?
Yeah, which that part was all right. I thought it was kind of cool. They're like,
I mean, they made them sound way cooler than they were to me.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, but yeah, it's like him and the ghosts like fight these demons that the Zorash dude hired to go, because Zorash apparently wants the ghost train for himself, but they still haven't told us why in this first one, why he wants it. So
Didn't understand.
yeah, me neither. Apparently,
Felt
there's
like-
something really major going on there.
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know. He probably waits until book 8 to tell you, to explain.
Yeah. And I wanted the ghost trade because, and that book ends.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I mean, but that's what this basically is. It's basically an Audible cartoon essentially. So,
Yeah.
but
And I think it's not bad.
no, I don't think it's bad either. For sure, I think you could do a lot worse, like you said.
So you want to move on to Nuts
Nut-
Job?
Nut jobs. Yeah, it's like that is your risky Google for the day.
Yeah,
Nut
it
job.
is, for sure.
So this is so it's called Nut Jobs Cracking California's Strangest $10 million Heist.
And it's actually a podcast.
Right. He states that right off the bat. So this one is written by Mark Fennell. It's also narrated by Mark Fennell because it's more along the lines of Body of Proof that we did a while back.
Yeah, that's like a really
Where, yeah, so this guy is like an investigative journalist, and he basically is just detailing all of the things he's doing in this podcast. So it's a lot of like conversations between him and other people and actual recordings, and then him filling in the gaps. So
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, I
And it-
feel like you described it perfectly.
and this is brand new. It just came out this year. And it is 4 hours long. So again,
Yeah.
not bad for a free book. I mean, not a bad price. Show's regular price is $8. So
Really, $8.
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I'll let you know how I feel about that when we come to our recommendations.
Okay.
Um, so what did you think? Was this kind of easy to follow? Was it well
I
put
mean,
together?
yeah, it felt like like watching like a detective story on TV or like
Sure.
a documentary.
Right. Yeah, and I thought you did pretty good as far as like staying on in a pretty linear fashion instead of like jumping around back and
Yeah.
forth. Like, remember this person? This was who we talked to at the beginning 4 hours ago. Like, he didn't do a whole lot of that. I thought he did pretty good keeping it all
Yeah, it is
sectioned
actually
out.
pretty easy to follow, I think.
Yeah. And so like I said, this is definitely like a nonfiction, real life event type thing. So for anybody who's looking for stuff like that, then this might be right up your alley.
Yeah, I feel like if you like true crime podcasts or anything like that, I feel like you might enjoy this.
Sure. So what's your recommendation on this one?
I actually really like this.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just like that it was about like agriculture stuff. I was like, ooh, interesting. Because I never really thought about like basically what this book's about, like people stealing truckloads of nuts.
Yeah. So I actually liked it a lot too, and I learned quite a bit from it.
Yeah.
I learned how shitty people are. I learned
trash.
how shitty people are to each other.
Also
how-
trash.
How shitty we are. How shitty people are to the planet.
Oh yeah. All yep.
How shitty California can be. I did like this though. Because I like to learn stuff, and it's very easy way to learn stuff if you can just have somebody tell it to you while you're doing other things.
Yeah.
So I did like that, and I did appreciate that. And I think that this should be pretty eye-opening for anybody who listens to it. So
Yeah, I agree.
So with that, we'll go past the spoiler wall on this one now that you got both of our recommendations. And I still don't know if I think it's worth $8, but
I don't know about that either. $8 is a lot of bucks.
yeah, I mean, I would say 5 would be fair.
Yeah, one per hour almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would say 5 is fair because there's a lot of information, and this dude did travel a lot, and he talked to a lot of people and all that stuff. I'm sure he got paid well enough from Amazon, and I'm sure Amazon took care of all the production value for most of this. But I mean, he still deserves, credit for what he did. So
Yeah.
So with that, we'll just go past the spoiler wall on this one real quick, and we will kind of fill you in on a little bit of what this one's about. So this one, obviously, the title of this kind of will catch your eye really quick.
It did me.
A $10 million heist is interesting in itself, no matter what it is. So this is actually about criminals stealing like trucks of loaded nuts out of California and then like basically selling them for themselves and collecting all the money.
Yeah.
And some of these trucks are worth upwards of $500,000.
Yeah, dude.
One truckload.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I didn't realize the numbers were quite so high.
Me neither.
And then
I started thinking about it like you fill a truck with wheat, and you're like, that's a lot of wheat. What if it was all almonds?
Right, exactly. Yeah, considering how many almonds you get in a little can.
Yeah, and it's like $7.
Exactly. Yeah, think about how many little cans would fit in a freaking truck. So,
yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. I found the whole thing like really interesting because he goes through like the police, like not the police force, but like basically because there's so much ag crime that happens in California, which I had no idea about.
I didn't either.
Really think ag crime was a thing.
Right.
Because I don't know. I thought or at least where we're from, like farmers are decent people, and you don't really mess with them. Like,
right.
Not at all.
Exactly.
So he like starts out like going with the like private detective agency that like patrols these fields and stuff like that, and I don't know. That was really interesting to me that they're like really well equipped and they actually like need the guns and stuff like that. Like they're like at war with these people.
Right. Yeah, because they come across criminals apparently in like orchards and stuff all the time in California.
Yeah.
Whether they're trying to steal equipment or they're trying to steal crops directly out of the orchards or whatever, they're not good people, and they are usually there with kind of malicious intent as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of these ranchers is what he calls them, but I'm sure a lot of them are paying these private security companies a lot of money to watch their crops.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was quite so cutthroat either. I mean, it sounds pretty not cool.
No.
I mean, to say the least.
Because when I think farming, I think kind of like not necessarily laid back, but like I don't know, you leave the keys in the tractor. You don't have to worry about anything. Like I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, and I 100% agree. And that must just be kind of in where we live because it's such small town and where we grew up. But yeah, I didn't realize that in other parts, especially in California, I'm sure this is a huge issue. People going in and just stealing equipment, stealing cars and whatnot directly out of farms.
Crazy to me. Makes no sense.
Yeah. So then he moves on and he talks from there. He goes to the police force, right, and talks to them about the actual stealing of the trucks. And this gets pretty interesting too because it talks about truckers basically getting conned to do a job where they essentially are conned into stealing a trailer for the criminals.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. Because what these crime syndicates will do is they basically find the job on the bid line that truckers use, and they will bid on it, and they'll get the job, and then they will immediately turn around and call some independent, like single truck driver who just drives his own solo truck, and they'll basically say, hey, we need you to go pick up this. We're going to pay you double what it was on the bid line, and we're going to pay you cash.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, well, sure. And they'll say, okay, it's because on the bid line, obviously it's going to show it's going to go from like Southern California to like Portland, Oregon. So he'll pick it up, and then when he gets about halfway, they'll say, "Hey, we're not taking it to Portland anymore. Now we need you to take it to Nevada." And this guy will just be like, "Okay, well, you're the boss. You know, you're paying me."
Yeah, he's like sick cash.
Yeah, exactly. They'll pay him like $1,000 cash, and all he has to do is like roll up down some freaking back road and drop the trailer. A guy will be waiting there who pays him, and then within 15 minutes, another truck comes and grabs the trailer, and it's gone.
Yeah, and they have no idea where it goes.
Exactly, and that's the
Which
last
is crazy
time.
to me.
I know. Yeah, I thought that was super interesting how they were pulling that off.
Well, and the fact that like the crime syndicates were like they have like fake trucking agencies too.
Yeah, they have everything from like fake trucking agencies to real trucks with like license numbers and VIN numbers and serial numbers that they can basically change on the fly.
Yeah.
So, and it all looks legitimate in the system. So like if they were to get pulled over, the truck looks legitimate in the system.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look stolen. It doesn't, which I also thought was insane.
Well, and the fact too that like it's just almonds back there, so like the cops not gonna be like, "Hey man, these are Farmer Jeff's almonds. Why
Right,
you got them?" Like you don't know, they're just almonds.
Exactly. It's basically just a blank, dump belly worth of freaking almonds.
Yeah, like it's crazy that like somebody was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm gonna steal."
It's actually a pretty smart thing to steal though, because, and he talks about this in this book, but for a long time it was basically flying under the radar because nobody even thought about it. Like, you'll see guys steal like truckloads of TVs or truckloads of electronics or whatever, but those are obvious things that they're going to steal. So, to think that they could steal a load of almonds that's worth probably the same amount of money, if not more, is crazy.
Yeah, they knew like every step of the way, and the fact that they don't really even know who's doing it.
Oh yeah, they're still pretty much no closer to catching any of these people. Like they might have caught a few small time guys, but the problem is that the small time guy, he has no idea where it goes once he drops it off.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. And the phones they use are burner phones, so they might make 3 phone calls on it and then it's gone. It disappears forever. So
yeah, it's insane to me that people figured it out like that. Oh.
So then who else does he go talk to? He goes then to talk to, is that when he goes and talks to that lady in the town that's like in the middle of all of it?
Oh, yeah. And she like talks about like the environmental impact and all that, like all the water and stuff that they have to use.
Yeah, which I thought was crazy interesting too.
I mean, I kind of already knew that.
Well, I mean, I've kind of known for a long time that California was very what's the word I'm looking for? They had very poor judgment when it comes to their water.
Yeah.
Because every year you hear California's in a drought. California's in a drought. Well, every time I hear California's in a drought and I'm working in California, California also still uses flood irrigation in their orchards.
Yeah, which is dumb and wasteful.
Exactly. So while they're in drought, the farmers are still using flood irrigation on all their trees, and no one can stop them. So, he talks to this lady about the impacts that stuff like the water and the even all the way down to the harvest, because the harvest is actually these little spots down in California, like in the San Joaquin Valley, have some of the worst air quality on the planet. Not even just in the United States. I'm talking in the world, because of the amount of dust, the amount of fumes, the amount of chemicals I'm sure that they're using.
Well, and I thought it had something to do with the fact that they like used to oil. There used to be like oil people there before, and so there's like oil in the dirt.
Right. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's so bad. it just goes to show though, like how willing. So like the criminals are obviously willing to screw over the farmers, but the farmers are also just as willing to screw over their workers to make a
Oh yeah,
buck.
they don't
I
give
mean,
a shit.
exactly. So it's pretty sad. They also talked about how they're pumping the groundwater out of that area so fast.
Yeah, out of the aquifer.
Yeah, they're pumping it out so fast that the ground is literally sinking in California.
Dude, that's actually terrifying.
Right? And I'm not talking like, oh, they recorded like an inch in 10 years. They've recorded over 1.5 meters worth of sinking in like the last 10 years. That's like 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
That's like
my God.
That's a seriously noticeable amount. Like
It is. It's too much.
and it is unfixable. They've pretty much done the damage and now it's done and cannot be repaired. Because basically
I'm
what's
sure you're gonna add
happening
that-
What's
Go
that?
ahead, sorry, I was gonna say I'm sure that's gonna add that to the freaking list of things that happened in 2020.
Oh god, don't say that.
Dude, I'm not even worried about it.
I'm so over this year. And we're only halfway through it. But yeah, this is like irreparable damage that they're doing to the environment. I mean, so they're basically sucking the water out so fast that anywhere there was gaps of water, normally if you take like well water out of the ground, like for your house, that's not going to happen because you're using the water so slowly that as you use it, it replenishes fast enough that no spacing is kind of lost underground.
I mean, you still are taking. Sometimes it's like even at a house well will go dry because you took all the water, though. They don't
Sure.
necessarily fill up as fast.
Right, and a lot of them might not. If your water table, like if they only drill to the top of your water table, say, and you didn't drill deep into your water table, that's true. The water level can lower far enough that your well now dries up because there's no more replenishing water filling back into those spots. But in California, they're literally sucking it out so fast that the dirt is basically just collapsing underground because the water is just being removed so quickly each year.
And it's going to be depleted. It's kind of soon. I remember talking. I like somebody in FFA gave a speech about that one year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like they've known about it. They just don't care.
Well, exactly. And what worries me is they'll suck it dry and be like, "Yep, time to go somewhere else. This place is a desert now, just a dry desert."
Where are they gonna go?
I don't know. I'm sure they'll find somewhere. They clearly found California, and even they're basically forcing that area of the state to essentially grow this stuff where it wouldn't even be very easy to grow it naturally because that area of the state is not even really lush. It's actually really, really, really dry, which is why they have to pump so much water out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the case in a lot of places.
Sure,
it's kind of what agriculture is at this point,
except for like the Oregon coast. Like,
yeah, I'm sure they freaking could grow most things.
Well, the goal would be though to be like the Willamette Valley of Oregon is a better example of using your environment because where the Willamette River runs, there's so much water you can pump out of the Willamette River, and it's very unlikely.
Take almost all of it.
Well, it's very unlikely though you're gonna pump it like dry, like they're doing with the groundwater.
They do have restrictions on it though. I mean, I feel like the farmers would pump it dry if we let them.
Oh, and they very well might. Yeah, that is true.
There's some places you go by and they have like 15 wheel lines running.
Yeah, well, right here, right around my house, I can see usually like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 pivots all running at the same time in fields right next to each other. I mean, it makes me nervous that my well is going to go dry because I'm sure my well is connected to the same water that their wells for each individual pivot are.
Yeah, it might be. I don't. It's hard to explain because sometimes that water stuff is weird. Like if you were to look at like a map of how it works, right? Sometimes you might literally be tapped into like your own thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you could be tapped into what everybody else is. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Right. But
got way off topic.
Just a little bit. That's okay. But so this Mark Fennel guy, he at the end of this, he kind of makes a good point though. He says, kind of think about when you go to buy some of these things like almonds, cashews, things like that from the store, that one, they might be stolen, and two, even if they weren't stolen, uh, it's actually harming a lot of people to get them to that bag that comes to your house. So
Yeah.
he kind of leaves that message kind of hanging out there in the air at the end of his little podcast thing that he does.
Yeah. Am I gonna eat less almonds? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat like a ton as is, but I don't necessarily know that this will change my mind on it, because if these guys weren't doing it, somebody else would be. So
Yeah.
we all drink a lot of coffee, and none of that is grown even in the United States, and we have no idea the conditions that all of it's grown in. So
It's true. There's a lot of evil in the world.
oh yeah, a ton, and a lot of it is boiling to the surface in recent years.
Yeah. Or is it that we're just knowing about more of it?
Well, I think that technology has a lot to do with that, because lines of communication are so much shorter.
Yeah.
So, a story can break in New York, and over here in Oregon, I'll know about it within an hour at the latest. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, whereas before, like way back in the past, it could be weeks maybe before you knew about that story that happened in New York, and by the time you know about it and you're like, oh, I want to do something about that, they'll be like, no, it's over already. Like,
no. You're good. That's funny. Oh, what do you think?
with that, I would just say these two Audible originals that we chose, I think those are good choices.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them.
I did too, actually. I thought that, especially of all the Audible originals we've listened to thus far, these are two of the best. So
Yeah, we've listened to a lot of stinkers.
right, and I know that everybody could use a little dose of feel good. So
Nut, like the nut one is not a feel good one.
oh yeah. Don't pick nut jobs for that.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? Oh.
But no, and I mean, without getting into details about what's going on in the world, I just would like to put it out there to everybody, just to be nice to each other,
Yeah,
just
we're all human.
exactly. Don't be assholes. So
Yeah, yeah. Don't stop being such dicks, please.
yeah, it's very simple. I mean, I would think it's very simple. Just don't be an
Clearly,
asshole.
it isn't.
But with
Okay, yeah,
that,
you're right. Sorry.
what are we doing next time, Bo?
I'm not sure.
I think our plan was to do a round table.
Oh yeah. I feel like we need to. It's kind of spilling over into this episode.
Right. Yeah, I think we need to also. So we'll try to get that one out probably within the next week, and then we will do the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Yeah.
the plan.
And I want to thank everybody for listening. Really appreciate all of you guys that come check out this little tiny podcast. I know I just appreciate, even if you listen for 1 second, it kind of means a lot to me that you even take time out of your day to listen to us. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing anybody could do right now to help us is, I mean, we just ask for any little bit of support you could give. So 5-star ratings, leaving comments, whatever, it would all be awesome for us. So
Yeah, one email would be nice.
that's true. We're still waiting on our first one. So
Yeah, kotpl.pod@gmail.com.
that's right. So with that, I hope to catch you guys in the next one.